Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for this edition of CBM Calling. My name is Catherine Cole. I am the team lead for communications with CBM, and I am joined today by Louise Hannem, the team lead for church engagement. Hi, Louise.
Hi, Catherine.
Do you want to tell us a bit about your role as team lead for church engagement?
Sure. Yeah, the church engagement team at CBM exists to help the church in Canada partner with the church in the majority world. And we do that in all sorts of ways through prayer support, through partnerships with global staff, through a variety of resources that we offer at CBM for education and engagement. And also in our SENT program, as teams from Canada go and are able to visit and encourage our partners.
So you mentioned resources to help educate churches on different themes and different topics. One of the resources that CBM produces each spring is called Kids Care. What is Kids Care?
Yeah, well, it's the best children's ministry curriculum available. I can't actually prove that, but two things that I think are really important about kids care are number one, the context, which is that it is Canadian and it is global. So this is a curriculum resource for children that is written by Canadian Baptists with knowledge of Canadian Baptist churches, but it also includes voices and stories from the majority world. I worked in Christian education for many years before coming to CBM, and I know that it is really difficult to find resources that have been written in a Canadian context. So I love that we're able to offer this for children. And I also love that this curriculum focuses on God's heart for the poor and the marginalized. And it helps children understand that we share the good news of Jesus through both word and deed. And I think those are some things that make the kids' care curriculum really unique. And it's a really good addition to what churches are already doing in their children's ministries.
So why is it a priority for CBM to develop this curriculum?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's so important that our children know that they are global disciples. Kids today know more about the world than any other generation before them. There was a time when kids had to ask adults for information. That has been the norm until technology, which is in every kid's hand, they are able to access information on their own, and they certainly know more about global issues. They hear more about world events than any other generation before them has. And I think the church has an important voice into that. Often, what kids are hearing in the news and on social media is can be frightening for them. It can be maybe too much information for them. And I think the church has a response to frame the world events and what is going on in our globe all under God's care, and to know that He is at work in the world, and that we also have a role to play in that as He invites us to join Him in what He's doing in the world. And we have a unique way of approaching a relationship with the world too. So I just think allowing kids to be global disciples is really important, not giving them a weight that is too much for them to carry, but inviting them in to be a part of something that is bigger than themselves and bigger than just what they're seeing on the news and in social media on their own. I grew up in a wonderful church that taught me stories of the Bible, lots of lessons. I learned the characters. I learned, yeah, the books of the Bible, all of those really important foundational things. But there wasn't a big emphasis on the global piece, and especially on how God invites us to join Him to care for the poor and the marginalized. That's just such a core piece of God's heart. And I think from a young age, that resonates with children as they're created in God's image. And I think to be able to speak into that and to give them some tools and resources on how to respond is definitely a priority at CBM.
I love that. It's so important to make sure that kids are feeling connected and part of something much bigger than themselves. If someone were to ask what the format or the structure is for the curriculum and how they might be able to use it in their context, is there a standard format or structure?
Yeah, well, we've been writing this curriculum for a long time. I don't even want to guess, but I know it's been more than 20 years. And so the format has definitely changed over the years. As I can imagine, as I know, all of the children's ministries in our churches, their formats have changed. So we've tried to change with the times, of course. So currently, you'll find probably the last 8 to 10 years of curriculum are 5 lessons, and they're between sort of 45 minutes and an hour of content. Pre-pandemic, we had got into a little bit of video-based curriculum, and then, of course, that was not possible while we were writing during the pandemic. And for next year, we're looking at bringing that back again. So some have a video component, but most at this point don't. The beauty of, I know it's only 5 lessons, but I think the beauty of that is they're long enough that you can divide them over two Sundays or 2 sessions as well. A lot of our churches don't have quite a full hour in their children's ministry, so you're able to adapt it. And as we know, all curriculum needs to be adapted and put into the context for the number of children and the situation that you have in your church. But that's sort of what the standard lesson looks like right now.
And are there themes or main messages that are kind of woven throughout?
Yeah, I think really broadly, the main message of kids care would be that the world is big and beautiful, but it's also broken. And we know that because that's the reality that we live in. So the world is big and beautiful, but broken, and that God is always at work making things right and new, and that He invites us to join in what He's doing around the world and in our own lives too.
Yeah, and each year has had a different kind of sub-theme within that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, our curriculum was on celebrating CBM's 150 years of existence and doing global mission. So it's a bit of a walk through that. Before that, we did a curriculum on what it means to be peacemakers in our world. Before that, there was one on themed around justice and just choices. So yeah, each year we do pick a different theme and we feature different projects that CBM does with our partners.
So you mentioned that kids care curriculum is easily adaptable to different contexts. Do you have any examples of how churches within the Canadian Baptists have used kids care?
Yeah, every church I visit, it seems like they're doing something different and creative with it, which is fantastic. So I would say when we write it, we kind of have in mind what a Sunday morning, Sunday school or kids' church experience might be like, and we try to develop components that would fit into that easily. But we have churches that use it in all kinds of ways. So the ones that are using it on Sunday morning, often what I see is once a month, a church might have what they call a Global Adventures Sunday. And so they would do that probably 10 months of the year, taking a break in the summer sometimes. And they would divide one lesson over 2 months of teaching. But I've seen it in churches for midweek programs. I've seen churches just sort of using maybe the projects and the fundraising component of it to put it in addition to their existing kids ministry. I've seen it at VBS. That's been a popular one. Some churches have swapped out maybe one of the other stations and put in a mission station, which has been really fun and works really well where there's 5 lessons. And in Atlantic Canada, especially, it's been used in our camps many times too.
One of CBM's core values is partnership. So we partner with local churches, we partner with a church in Canada. How does Kids Care invite kids to partner with CBM?
Yeah. Well, as I said, we really hope that this curriculum teaches kids about the injustices in the world, the brokenness in the world, just the reality that this is the world that we live in. Um, but we never want to teach that in a way that makes the problems of the world the burden for the child. That's just far too much for anyone to carry, but especially children. So we always talk about injustice, we talk about the brokenness of the world, always framed within God's hope, but also inviting them to respond. If we say there's a problem, then we need to help kids know that there is a solution and there's a way that they can be invited into what God is already doing in the world. I'm always amazed how much kids love fundraising. My own kids get so excited anytime we've got a fundraiser to do. And so we hope that that is not a burden, but that is just something that's exciting for kids. And that's what we've seen in our experience. Um, so, so that's a component of it as well, that they're able to respond, and not just through funds, but also through prayer. There's written prayers in the curriculum, and kids are also free, of course, to take those home and to tell their families about it and join in prayer for the projects that they're learning about. And I love that this curriculum is taught within our churches, where generally the wider church community also has a partnership with CBM. So kids don't feel like they have to solve all of this on their own, but that their wider church family is a part of it, and that our 900 plus churches across Canada are also joined together in the work that we do globally.
So, Louise, if people want to find the curriculum and use the curriculum or might have questions about it, where can they find it and who can they reach out to?
Absolutely. It is all on our CBM website. You can view it, you can pick through, choose what you like, what themes might be fitting for what your church is already doing, download it, print it off if you want to print it, or you can just look at it on your device too. But there are years of kids care curriculum online. So this year for 2025, we actually aren't creating a new kids care curriculum. This is the first year in a long time. But that is just because we are putting our time and our resources into a bigger kids care curriculum in 2026, which will be all around integral mission. And I'm really, really excited about that. So for 2025, we're asking churches to just go back and reuse one that they maybe used in the past, and all of the kids in your ministry have aged out. And so you've got new kids that you can teach that to. Or if you need help choosing one, please reach out to me and anyone on the church engagement team, and we'd be happy to help even build something for you that works best for your context. So it's all online, it's all downloadable, all the resources are there. And please feel free to reach out to the church engagement team, or our CBM reps across the country can help you too.
Thanks so much, Louise. And it's so
Welcome.
clear that you are passionate about creating spaces and creating resources for kids to be able to find that connection with the global world and what we are called to do beyond just our own local communities. So thanks so much for sharing today. And
Yeah.
thanks to our viewers for watching this and learning more about kids care with us.